there is this chapter of kindness.
That's right. And I put it there because while I basically show a belief cycle that what happens with our beliefs that develop when we're very young is that we seek evidence that they're true, and that strengthens the belief. What kindness does is it actually tends to counter that cycle, so that when we're behaving in a kind way, we actually strengthen the idea that we have worth. Now, there's some cautions with that we don't say that we'll make our children be kind, do something because it's going to make them kind, or we don't put kindness on a ladder that someone's kinder than someone else. But just the act of being kind is a way of reinforcing our sense of our inherent worth. And so there are some things that we can do to help children to be kind, and that a lot of it is modeling. What we do, our children tend to pick up on, but also we can introduce them to other kind people, or talk about kindness when we see it. There's a lot online that one little boy that I saw his story on. He was on Facebook actually, but he's a little boy who he still does actually create teddy bears for children in hospital, and he would deliver them himself and befriend the child. And he would rather make teddy bears than be out playing soccer with his friends, and he just spent a huge amount of time every day making these beautiful stuffed animals. And he's actually then gone on to have a big charity that is internationally known. Yeah. Similarly, there's a Craig Kielburger, when he was a child, went to see President Clinton and talk about child slavery, and his goal was to abolish child slavery, and he now has a multinational organization called Free the Children.
Yeah.
And he was the youngest person to get the Order of Canada. So just talking about these kinds of examples, not in a way that makes our children feel, oh, I'll never be able to do that, but just ordinary acts of kindness. We can suggest things that they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see that. Do we see that? Yeah, show that.
Yeah.
The key to raising trouble-free kids and teens, which sounds amazing. And yes, kindness as an important part, I guess.
Right. And I think it's the inherent worth that's the key, is knowing our inherent worth. And when we know that not only do we have inherent worth, but everyone else does too, yeah, then it's much easier to extend kindness, because we know that everyone has the same worth that we do.
Yeah.
And I also called it what they don't teach in prenatal class, because I actually wish I had known this material before my daughter was born. And I actually start with a story in which I was in the hospital the day after she was born, and the nurse was giving her a bath. And I saw an Olympic swimmer because she was enjoying it so much. If I knew what my inherent worth was, I wouldn't have needed to look at her that way, or it wouldn't have crossed my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
That just became clear to me with hindsight. And she didn't become an Olympic swimmer, and I didn't actually even really give her swimming lessons, but just that thought meant that there's something lacking in me that she might be able to fill. And very often parents want their children to give them love, that because they're feeling complete, and this child is going to be the source of love for me, and that's not going to work.
Yeah,
we have to know that we are enough ourselves.
Yeah, that was one of the parts that I found very, on the point, that we don't use our kids for our own better.
Yeah, and it's subconscious. It's not a conscious thing that we do. But if we have a negative belief that we're lacking, then we will look to others to fill that void for us. And they're not going to do that because they can't. Only we can do that. And so they're always going to disappoint in that sense.